Have you ever wondered why liquidity on NQ is harder to read than ES? Both are index futures. Both move with order flow. But the way the market reacts is completely different. If you look at liquidity through a heat map, then ES usually has a thicker, more stable, and easier to read order book than NQ. Meanwhile, NQ is still highly liquid, but it is usually thinner at each price level, more sensitive to market orders, and more prone to strong sweeps and wicks. 1. Liquidity comparison, ES versus NQ on a heat map. ES, E-mini S and P500. ES usually has a thicker book. The bid/ask layers on the heat map tend to be more even, with more resting orders across multiple price levels. ES liquidity is also usually more stable and better distributed, especially around key levels such as round numbers, prior highs/lows, VWAP, overnight high/low, value area, and daily open. ES generally has more stable spreads and lower slippage because it represents the S&P 500 and is widely used by institutions to hedge, trade market beta, arbitrage against SPY/SPX/options, and adjust exposure. In terms of price action, ES usually moves more smoothly than NQ. ES still has stop runs, sweeps, and false breakouts, but overall, it tends to be less violently erratic than NQ. NQ, Nasdaq 100 Futures. NQ usually has a thinner book at each price level. On the heat map, the order layers are often not as thick or stable as ES. As a result, a smaller amount of market orders can push price further. Liquidity on NQ is often pulled or canceled more quickly. A large wall on the heat map is not necessarily real support or resistance. It may disappear before price reaches it, so you should not trade purely because you see a large order wall. NQ usually has larger price ranges. Even though NQ has a smaller tick value than ES, NQ often moves more points, so the real risk can still be very large if you trade the same number of contracts. NQ is also more likely to create deep wicks, high/low sweeps, and fast stop runs. Price can sweep a liquidity pool and then reverse sharply, or break straight through it if there is real momentum. 2. Why is ES usually more stable and deeper than NQ? ES represents the S&P 500, the main benchmark for the U.S. stock market. It is widely used by large funds, market makers, CTAs, pension funds, hedge funds, and institutions that need to hedge portfolios. ES is directly tied to broad market flows. Because of that, ES liquidity is usually deeper, more evenly distributed, and more stable. NQ represents the Nasdaq 100, which is heavily weighted toward technology and growth stocks. It is still one of the most liquid futures products, but it is more affected by mega-cap stocks such as Nvidia, Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Meta, Alphabet, and Tesla. Because of that, NQ tends to be more sensitive to yields, the Fed, CPI, tech earnings, and risk-on/risk-off sentiment. Simply put, ES equals broader market, deeper liquidity, more stable behavior. NQ equals tech-heavy, usually thinner book, higher volatility, faster reactions. 3. Practical heat map reading. With ES, large liquidity areas are usually a bit more reliable. If price moves into a thick liquidity area, the tape slows down. Market orders hit that area, but price does not continue. That may indicate absorption or defense. With NQ, you need to be more careful. A large wall on the heat map can be pulled before price reaches it. That is why you should also confirm with delta/CVD, tape speed, absorption, high/low sweeps, volume spikes, and reaction after price reaches the liquidity zone. The key question is not only, Where are the large orders? The better question is, when price gets there, do those orders actually trade or are they pulled? If price reaches a liquidity area, aggressive market buys, sells hit it, but price does not continue. That may be absorption. If liquidity disappears before price reaches it, that is usually pulled/canceled liquidity. If price breaks through the area very quickly, it may be a liquidity sweep or a real breakout/breakdown if there is momentum and continuation. 4. Trading conclusion. If you are new to using heat maps, ES is usually easier to read than NQ because the order book is thicker, price behavior is more stable, and there is less noise. If you prefer speed, larger ranges, and fast scalping opportunities, NQ can be attractive, but you need to reduce size because it can move sharply, sweep aggressively, and reverse quickly. Practical view. ES is better suited for learning liquidity, absorption, and market structure. NQ is better suited for exploiting volatility and range, but risk management must be tighter. On NQ, heat map signals should always be confirmed by tape/CVD. Do not trust resting liquidity mechanically.